Hey, it's Tara. It's time for Sunday Reads. So last week I did not do a Sunday Reads, so this week I have 4 books to talk about. I finished The Mirror Empire by Kameron Hurley, So You Want to Be a Wizard by Diane, Duane, Sheepfarmer's Daughter by Elizabeth Moon, and The Mystery of the Clockwork Sparrow by Katherine Woodfine. I read The Mirror Empire as a buddy read with Paul at Column and Touch of Fantasy, and I liked this book. I thought it was a really interesting idea, and even though there were quite a few different plot lines and main characters and things like that, I thought it was neatly put together in a way that didn't confuse me. Some of the plot points themselves were a little bit confusing and maybe a little bit inconsistent here and there, but I very much enjoyed the story, and I am looking forward to reading the next, which is Empire Ascendant, and I might do that as a buddy read with Paul and Rachel next month. We'll see how that goes. The next book I actually finished was Sheepfarmer's Daughter by Elizabeth Moon, and I did this as a buddy read with a bunch of people, Katherine and Bree and Rachel, and maybe there was someone else. If so, I'm sorry, I forgot you. Yeah, so this was my first book by Elizabeth Moon, and I wasn't really sure what to expect, except that a few of my friends really enjoy her books, but they had talked mostly about her science fiction before, and this is a fantasy novel about a young lady, sheepfarmer's daughter, who, rather than get married off to another sheep farmer, decides to run away and join the army, which has actually been her dream. Maybe not the army, but she wants to become a soldier, and so she joins the Duke's company, and it's about her experiences going through the training and her first battles, and you know, there's an adventure along the way. And it's got very little magic in this first one, but I'm told that there is more magic in the next 2 books. So if you like stories that are sort of like detailed day-to-day tellings, then you would probably enjoy this. But for me, which I do enjoy those, but it's got a little bit tedious here and there, and especially towards the end of the book when there were a string of battles, it kind of got hard to tell where they were and what they were doing and what happened. But other than that, the storytelling itself was pretty decent. I very much enjoyed the asexual main character and the friendships that she had, and I felt that probably the best part of the book for me was the realistic portrayal of soldiers in battle. I've never been in battle, so I don't know how realistic it is, but I hate in books when the people just keep taking hits and somehow manage to magically overcome it. But in this book, people were constantly getting injured and having to go to the surgeons or get, you know, magical healing or things like that. So I felt in that case, there was never any question in my mind of, you know, is that really possible? Because, you know, people were being hurt and taken care of, even for somewhat minor injuries. So that was nice. It is one of 3 books, and I will probably continue the series sometime in the future, but I'm not in any rush. I think I gave it about 3 stars. I didn't love it, but it was interesting, and I would like to go on to try out her Vada's War science fiction series before I tackle more of Sheepfarmer's Daughter, the Paxenarian cycle. Next, I had been reading a lot of military fantasy, so I wanted something lighter, so I went with So You Want to Be a Wizard by Diane, Duane, which Rachel at Rationality has been talking about right recently. She's been rereading the series, and I saw it a long time ago, but I wasn't, I knew I wanted to read it, but I didn't want to buy it yet. Anyways, it was on sale, so I got it, and I read it, and it is just so good. It's about a young girl who is bullied at school because she doesn't like to fight, and a Hispanic young man who's a little bit chubby and has an accent, and so he's picked on at school as well, and they discovered this book called So You Want to Be a Wizard, and it's all about their adventures becoming wizards and, you know, saving the world and all those sort of things, and it was just really refreshing. It was light but not It was light but serious, if that makes any sense. There were a lot of serious themes in it, but they were handled in a light, easy sort of way, without, it sounds really bad about it, but what I mean was it wasn't too heavy-handed, and I really enjoyed it, and I definitely want to read the rest of the series. My only complaint was that it was a little bit too short, and I would have liked a little more exploration of the magic system and the world itself, but I think the 9th book was just released, so I'm sure that there is more coming. After that, I read The Mystery of the Clockwork Sparrow by Katherine Woodfine, which is a like middle grade, young teen mystery set in the 19... Oh goodness, now I forgot. It is set in London in the 1910s, and it's about the Sinclair department store, which is opening, and there are 3 young people who are working there. Sophie, who works in the millinery department, Lil, who is a captain's girl, basically she's a model or a mannequin, and Billy, who is a porter in training. And Mr. Sinclair is about to open his huge, luxurious department store, and he has provided his own collection of jewels and beautiful objects for people to look at as part of the grand opening ceremony, but many of the items are stolen, including the Clockwork Sparrow, which is the prize of his collection, and the theft gets pinned on Sophie, and it's the story of how Sophie and Billy and Lil prove Sophie's innocence and find, you know, the actual culprit in it. It was a lot of fun. It had some really nice friendships. There were crushes in the book, but there was no romance going on, and I found that incredibly refreshing in a teen book. And I really enjoyed the characters and the character development, and it was just a light, fun, exciting read, and I probably looked like a silly person because towards the end of my lunch break I usually go and make a cup of tea and you know, sit down with it, but I couldn't put my book down to make the tea. I was just like walking around like this trying to fill my teacup and stuff. So it was really good, basically, is what I have to say. So I definitely have to thank Elizabeth at Books and Pieces for recommending that, because yes. Also, it helps that I found it on sale for $1.99 like a few days after that, so that was great. I'm currently reading 2 history books, the same one as before, the book about the 1930s, and also Survive the Bomb, which is about like the handouts and stuff in the 50s and 60s, and you know, how to protect yourself from nuclear fallout and things like that. And it's not as good as I was expecting, but it still has some information I didn't know, so I am sort of leisurely making my way through that. But tomorrow I am starting The Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb with Brock at Let's Read and a few other people, and I am really looking forward to getting back into this. I read the trilogy a long time ago, and I want to read the Live Ship trilogy and the Tawny Man trilogy, I think, but I decided that I should probably start back at the beginning, and it's going to be really nice to be able to read it with people this time, so I am excited. So I guess that's it for me. I am in the middle of catching up with your videos, so I am enjoying watching all of that and seeing what you've been up to, but if there's anything that's happened recently, please let me know. Do you have any exciting plans coming for the week? Have you read any of the books that I read? Did you enjoy them? I don't know, things. Let's chat somewhere, and I guess that's it, so until next time.